Okay, so for this lesson, we're going to talk about amorphic shapes and Alexander Calder. An amorphic shape is very simple. It's any shape, excuse me, that is a non-geometric shape. Geometric shape being a square, triangle, rectangle, circle. Those are your general geometric. We want to go non-geometric, something that is other than that. So we're going to look at some of his artwork because he used a lot of non-geometric shapes. First of all, he created mobiles. And if you look at some of the shapes there, this is not a perfect circle. So we have things that are not exactly geometric shapes. The other thing we want to concentrate on is overlapping. And if you see, this white shape overlaps here. We have this blue shape overlapping that area. So we're going to want to do that on your picture. Again, here's some shapes. Now these are stars kind of. They're not perfect though. They are not exactly perfect. But they do have an overlapping section to them, and that's what we're going to concentrate on your project. Again, here's another example of the big blue shape overlapping the yellow shape, and it is not a geometric shape. When you do this, you can have things that go off the paper. As you see, this blue area is one big shape overlapping this area, and we have things going off of the paper. I suggest you do the same with your picture as well. These are just some more examples. What you want to try and do is avoid large areas where nothing is happening. We call that dead space. So try and make sure that your objects cover the entire piece of paper. And again, more just general shapes that overlap. And there we go. So this is going to be how we're going to base our project for today. And it's all going to be about overlapping shapes and making sure that you have amorphic shapes that overlap and use the entire piece of paper. Okay, so for our project of overlapping amorphic shapes, I'm only going to use 5 or 6 shapes. No more than 6, no less than 5. And so I'm going to start off with my first shape. And notice my shape is going off of the paper. I'm going to draw another shape over here, and then I'm just going to make up my third shape here. Now I need to get an overlapping area. And in order to do the overlapping, I'm going to draw the shape on top of this shape. I'm actually going to draw another small shape here because this is an area of what we call dead space. And now I'm going to do another shape on top. Once you have your picture drawn out, the next step is to erase. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide what part and what shapes I want to be on top of the other shape. So I'm going to have this shape, and I'm going to outline this in Sharpie so you can see it a little bit better in just a moment. But I'm going to erase this part here. So I have this shape on top of those two shapes, and then I have my other shape over here on top of these two shapes. So I used 6 shapes in mine. Again, no more than 6, no less than 5. I'm going to outline this so you can see it, and then we'll talk about adding some color. Okay, I have my picture now drawn out, and you can see my overlapping shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shapes, all amorphic. Now when we add some color, you can use crayons or colored pencil. You can use both if you want. It is up to you. The one thing I'm looking to see what you can do is to shade from one color into another. Instead of just making this one solid color, I want to make it go a variation. So I'm going to start with, I'll start with some crayons, and it doesn't matter what direction you go in, where you start. So I'm going to take some of this blue color here. And you could go from corner to corner, it doesn't matter, but I do want to see if you can. We want to mix another color. So what I'm going to do is have this color on part of it, and then I'm going to have it overlap eventually. I haven't done that quite yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap the two colors. So I'm going to add some green into the blue, and then I'm going to come back and maybe add a little bit more blue into the green. And so the colors kind of mix in the center. You can do the same thing with colored pencils. So I'll do it in this shape right here. So I'm going to start with some of this maroonish color or whatever it is actually. And then I'm going to add some orange, and I'm going to put the orange next to it. And then what I'm going to do is overlap them so that the orange and the reddish color overlap, and then I can even go back if I wanted to and add some more of the red color. And the whole idea is they overlap and the colors kind of mix together just a little bit. And so the idea behind this is, again, to mix one color into another color. And again, you can use crayons or colored pencils, that's up to you. But I want to see if you can kind of get this idea that we see some little bit of color mixing going on. How much you do of it is up to you, but I wouldn't do more than 2 colors. If you want to get crazy and try and do more, you can. And that's how we're going to work on this. Again, it's overlapping amorphic shapes with some color mixing with crayons and colored pencils. So again, once you get this, you're going to do all of the shapes. You're going to leave the background white, and that will create a nice little bit of contrast in your picture.